Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, my name is Kathy and I cook in a camper kitchen. You know, summer is just right around the bend where barbecues and picnics and camping trips are all going to be happening. What a better time to take all of the fruits and vegetables that are reaching their peak in flavor and freshness than to turn them into some salsas that can put a little pop of freshness into your meals. Or you can have them as a snack. Today we're going to be making pineapple salsa, a mango salsa, pico de gallo, as well as some guacamole. So pull up a chair and let's get chopping. All right, so we're starting by peeling our mango. Now I do have a little trash can here that my sister-in-law made me with her Cricut that is just adorable. And what I do is I just keep the vegetable bags that I get my produce in at the store. And I just put that right in there, and it makes for much easier cleanup as you're going along, kind of like a garbage bowl. So I had a friend ask me to show her how to peel and cut a mango. So this is for her. So I use a vegetable peeler. I've already done part of it, but I use a vegetable peeler and go around the outside, and then I just come right along each of the sides, just like so. Now, once you get the peel off, these are very slippery little boogers, and it will go flying across the room on you if you're not careful. So what I tend to like to do is to get a little paper towel just to put down. I will cut the tip off. So here's where our stem was. I'm going to cut the other end to kind of flatten it out a little bit. Give me a little flat surface. Save that because that's a little tasty bit. To where you see the shape of the mango, there's a big pit in there. And so you can see that this is the wider side, this is the skinny side. You're going to cut along that wide side here around that pit. You're just going to run your knife right down along the sides and see that pit in there. Go ahead and flip it on around and come right along the other side of that pit there. And then there's two more little sections that you can just come on that skinny side and just follow right along. And that will just cut your mango. And voila, you've got your pit to go in the garbage. Now, since we've got that all taken care of there, we do want to go ahead and get this into kind of a nice little small dice. This is about the size that you're looking for right here. About a 1/4 inch maybe right there. And we're just going to give those a quick cut. All right. And right into the bowl here. Now, with the summertime coming around, we will start barbecuing outside a little more frequently. And with the richness of a nice barbecued meat, it's always good to have a little something fresh just to give you that little, just a little palate cleanser, I think, personally. And I like to do that with fresh fruit. So that's why this really would be great served alongside of a barbecued chicken or even with a brisket or something of that nature. Now, I cut up a little too much, so I'm going to just move this off to the side for right now, and I'll put that in a bowl for later just for snacking because they're so sweet. All right, wash my hands. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we're going to cut up just a little bit of a bell pepper, about one little cheek of it here. You could use red, orange, adding the different colors in there with the bell peppers. It just kind of makes it look like confetti in there. So that's why I like to try to use, since mango is let me get the right knife. Since the mango is a little more on that lighter yellow side, you want something that's going to kind of give it a little bit of a contrasting color, kind of like that. Just so that it gives it a little bit of extra pizzazz, I would say. We're going to go ahead and add just a little bit of red onion. Just a small little cheek. I like that sweetness, but that little bit of extra little zip that the onion provides is very nice. Now with this, we want to go just a very nice little fine dice. So we're talking very fine like that. You know, if you're putting it onto a taco or something of that nature, then you would want to make sure that, you know, you're not biting into a big piece and that you're just getting a nice little meld of flavor. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and we'll cut up our jalapeno here. Now I like to use a whole jalapeno. It's going to depend on your preference as to how spicy that you want your salsa to be. as to how much jalapeno you add in here. That's one of the best things about cooking, is that you can change it up however you want, however it suits you. You know, everybody worries about always following the recipe to the exact. Well, you know, you don't have to. Really, a recipe is just a guideline, in a sense. Now, if you're baking, that's another story. But the best thing about making your own stuff at home is coming up with your own ideas and changing things up and mixing the flavors up. I mean, if you wanted to, with the mango salsa, you could add fresh pineapple into it and make a mango pineapple salsa. You know, there's so many options to things that you could do. And actually, I think one is going to be plenty for the mango that I've got here, or half. Nah, I need the whole thing. Frank will appreciate that. He likes things spicy. So now we're going to go ahead and chop up our cilantro. And we're just going to do that in just a nice little small chop there. And it's just really a handful, or what your liking is on that cilantro. You know, some people don't like it. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of lime juice in here. Grab a fork. It's a good thing about a small kitchen. Everything is within arm's reach. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up here. Put the fork right in the middle of your lime and give it a quick squeeze. And you're going to get all of that juice out of there. Oh, this one gave out some good juice. There's its stem. I'm going to give just a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and give just a quick stir here. And you know what? I think that's good on that cilantro. It probably could use a little bit more onion. So let's go ahead and just put a little extra little slice on there. You know, when you're making it, you can look at it, you can taste it, you can adjust everything. All right. Isn't that just beautiful? Look at those colors in there. It's just gorgeous. The purple from the onions, the green from the jalapenos and cilantro, that orange and yellow from the mango and the pepper. Let's give it a taste and see if it needs anything else. No, I think that's perfect. So that's one down and 3 more to go. And now we're going to get on to making our pico sauce. So we're going to cut our tomato up. And again, we want to have these, move those out of your way. We want to go ahead and have these back in little tiny pieces, 1/4 inch or so. And one thing you can do whenever you are cutting them up, the seeds that's in there, you can just take those out. And that'll help keep your salsa from getting as watery, because as a salsa sits, or a pico sits, the tomatoes will start to release their juices a little bit more. So that will in turn cause things to get a little bit watery sometimes. And if you're planning to take this to the campground with you or something of that nature, cut up everything but your tomatoes. And then the day that you plan to serve it, then you can cut your tomatoes up fresh, throw everything out of the zip bag in there, or better yet, have it already in your bowl you plan to serve it in. And then just add your tomatoes on top, add your lime juice, voila, you've got fresh pico to serve everybody. Now this goes great with anything. I mean, you think about anything that you would put a salsa on, you can put a fresh pico on. If you stay tuned to the end, I'll give you a little hint as to what's coming in the next video and what I plan to use my fresh pico on top of at the end, but you got to stick around for that one. So this has our tomatoes all cut up. I used about 2 or 3 medium-sized tomatoes there. Just depends on how much you're wanting to make as to how many that you'll cut up and the size of your tomatoes. In the summertime, tomatoes can get huge. I want to go ahead and I'm going to cut up some onion. This I prefer to use a sweet onion on. Not quite sure what makes me go that direction. I think it's just because it's not as harsh, and I don't know, I guess the acidity of the tomatoes makes it so that the sweet onion to me tastes a little bit better in there. But if red's what you got, red's what you use, because there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to go ahead and cut up a little bit of sweet onion here. We're going to do this in a finer dice, kind of like what we do with the jalapenos. Maybe this one won't make me cry. I was cutting up some red onion earlier to have on hand for making things a little bit easier. And boy, howdy, for a red onion, it brought tears to my eyes. Frank came in and was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I was just cutting onions." So now I've heard people say that you can light a candle next to you when you're cutting onions up, and that will prevent onions from making you cry. I don't know. Have you ever tried that? Comment down below and let me know if you've tried that or if you've got any tricks, because I tell you what, my little sensitive eyes sure do water a lot when I'm cutting up onions. So now we've got those tomatoes and our onion in here. And now I'm just going to put in a little bit of the jalapeno that I cut up. About one good size jalapeno. There we go. And then we're going to add a little bit of cilantro. I cut that up as well already. Yeah, just a handful of it there. We'll see if that's enough. If not, we'll go ahead and add a little bit more. Then we're going to give our lime our little roll here. Cut that right down the middle. Our trusty fork. And we're just going to juice that right over top. There we go. All right. These are some tiny limes, and they're putting out better juice than what I thought they would. We're going to add a little salt because you know tomatoes have to have salt, and a little black pepper just because I like black pepper in mine. And this one we're going to go ahead and give it a stir now, and then we'll taste it here in a second. Make sure that we've got the flavors the way that we want them. Ratio wise, that looks really good. And there again, it's how you want it. If you want more cilantro, more jalapeno, if you want to use a habanero instead, you can. So let's just take a quick gander at this delicious looking salsa here. And we're just going to give it a taste. Maybe just a touch more salt just to bring out the sweetness of those tomatoes. And another little stir. And that's salsa number 2 already. We'll flip this over here. And we'll move right on to the pineapple salsa. Now this salsa here with the pineapple is very good with chicken. It's kind of like the mango is, but the mango, I can tell you, is really good on fish tacos. You never know, you might get to see that too. But I definitely like the pineapple combination with a nice chicken leg or a chicken thigh or something like that. All right, I think that's enough pineapple for us right there. So now in our pineapple, we are going to go ahead and we're going to put just a little bit of red onion. Here again, it's not quite as much as what you would use in some recipes. A little jalapeno. And some cilantro. You kind of get the theme here. It all has the same ingredients except for your main thing, your mangoes, your tomatoes, and your pineapple. So it is something that you can do if you want to take multiple salsas. It's very easy. All you have to do is have that extra main ingredient there. So let's get our lime juice. And now in this one, let me wipe my hands here. We're going to put a little tagine. Have you ever used tagine before? Now, my nephew told me about this, about putting tagine on pineapple. And so I thought that would be delicious in here instead of using salt and pepper in it. Just kind of give it that extra little zing. Because it does have a little bit of a lime flavor to it. It's got a little heat. And it's just really warm and very nice with the fresh, cool pineapple. All right. And then that is salsa number 3. Look at how fast we're moving right along. So now we're back at it and we're going to take care of this guacamole. Super simple. Everybody goes and they want to have guacamole when they go to their local restaurant and everything, but it's so easy to make at home. Let's get going. So we're just going to start by making a circle all the way around our avocado with our knife. We're going to give it a twist and it just opens right up. Now to remove that pit, you use the very end of your knife and just get in there and give it a little twist, and that pit just pops right out. Now I like a chunkier guacamole, so I'm going to go ahead and just give a quick little dice while it's still inside the shell. Now one thing you want to be careful of is you don't go all the way through that shell and you don't cut yourself. If you prefer not to do that or don't want to take that risk, then you can just put it into the bowl and mash it up. So I'm going to get my spoon and we're just going to come right along on the inside here, and we're just going to scoop that avocado right on out and into our bowl. Avocados are one of those things that, oh, see, right here. It's one of those things that you kind of hold your breath and hope that when you open it up that it's a really good looking avocado. You can see this one's gotten bruised a little bit, and that was right up against that skin that we couldn't see. So we're just going to take that out and get rid of that part. All right. And we're just going to do the same thing with our other half here, and then right into the bowl. This side's a little bit is better than the other side was. Now, I will give it just a little mash, but not a much. Like I said, I like to have a little bit chunkier, so I'm not mashing mine very much. Now, 2 avocados is preferred, and that's what the recipe will end up having in it, but Frank doesn't like guacamole. I do like a little tomato in it, so we're going to put a little slice of tomato. I'm going to remove those seeds, and that's just as easy as reaching in and grabbing them out. Get rid of that, and let's just give a little fine chop on that, kind of like what we did with our pico. The best thing about being able to do recipes, if it's only one of you, 2 of you, you can make a smaller size portion. If there's a whole family, you can increase it, double it and triple it. Been there, done that before. All right, now that we've got our little bit of tomato in, we're going to put some cilantro, some jalapeno, one more, and a little red onion. Just a little, not a lot. We're going to add a little salt, a little pepper, and of course our lime. Giving it a roll, and a cut, and a fork. Now this lime juice will also help keep your avocado from turning brown after it's made. There is another little trick that once you've got your guacamole in your bowl that you plan to store it in, is you get a little plastic wrap and just put it all the way down on the surface of that guacamole, and that blocks the air. It's that oxygenation that causes it to turn brown, kind of like a banana. If it sits out, it's going to turn brown as well. Now the lime juice helps some, but putting that plastic wrap on there and your guacamole will stay good for a couple of days. Let's see. That's fantastic. Look at these beautiful colors of summer and how vibrant they are. Just imagine going out to the garden and picking onions and tomatoes and cilantro and making your own fresh pico. Or going to the farmer's market to individually pick out your mangoes and your jalapenos. So whether you're going on a camping trip or just to a barbecue or a picnic with friends, take along a fresh salsa with you. Oh, that's right. I told you I was going to tell you what I was going to do with my pico for dinner. I'm going to be making my beef enchiladas. Oh, well, I might as well tell you. I'm looking at fish tacos maybe for the mango. And most definitely a chipotle chicken rice bowl for the pineapple salsa. No matter which great flavor you choose, I just hope you enjoy it and come back and see me next time for some of the other recipes that I've just talked about. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good day. Bye, y'all.